A cop pulls you over on a Tuesday night. You did nothing wrong. Maybe a tail light. Maybe you were going 5 over. Doesn't matter. You roll down the window, and before you can even think, you hand him your license. That one move just changed everything. Because in that moment, without saying a single word, you gave that officer legal permission to hold on to your ID
Searches.
for as long as he
You're
wants.
combining your two
You gave him
most
time to run
powerful
your
rights
plates,
in one
run your name,
phrase.
call for
Full
backup,
dialogue.
walk his dog around your car.
Officer says,
and in at least
"You
14
don't have
states,
anything illegal
you gave
in
him
the car,
grounds to
right?"
extend that
You
stop
say,
well beyond
"I'm
the
not-
original
I
reason
understand.
he pulled you over.
I'm exercising
all
my
because you
right
handed
not
over
to
your
answer."
license first. Before
Officer
saying
says,
3 simple words.
"That makes you look pretty
The 3
suspicious."
words take 2 seconds.
You say,
They cost nothing.
"That's your
And
opinion,
most drivers will
officer.
never say them
Evidence of
because
guilt."
nobody taught them this.
The Supreme
If you don't know
Court
what
has been
those
clear
words
about
are,
this.
keep
Asserting
watching,
your rights
because this
cannot
single
be used
mistake has
against
cost
you in
people
court.
hours of detention,
Let me
thousands
put
in legal
all 5
fees,
traps
and in
together.
some cases,
Trap
their
1.
freedom.
Do
Let
you
me
know
explain
why I pulled
exactly
you over?
what's happening here from
You
a legal
say,
standpoint.
"I
When a
respectfully
police officer
decline to
initiates
answer
a traffic
questions."
stop, they need what's
Trap
called
4.
reasonable suspicion.
You don't mind if
That's
I
a low
search.
bar.
You say,
A busted
"I
tail
don't
light,
consent to
failure
searches."
to signal, going a few miles over
Trap
the limit.
5.
That's enough
You
to
don't
pull
have
you
anything
over.
illegal?
But here's the part they
You
don't
say,
teach you in driver's ed.
"I'm not going to answer
The moment that
questions
original
or
reason is
consent
resolved,
to searches."
the stop is supposed to end. If you got pulled over for a broken tail light, once they've addressed that, they legally cannot keep holding you without a new
One
reason.
more thing.
This is called
Physical
the
safety
Rodriguez
matters
rule.
more than
It comes
any
from
of
a
these
Supreme
phrases.
Court case in 2015, Rodriguez versus United States. The court ruled that extending a traffic stop beyond its original purpose, even by just a few minutes,
Rights.
violates
Watch
the Fourth
this video
Amendment,
next,
unless
where I
the
break
officer
down the
develops
4
new
pressure
reasonable
tactics
suspicion
cops
during the
use
stop.
after you've
So
said
why does
no.
this matter when you hand over your license?
Most people
because
can
the
handle
clock
the first
starts
question.
the moment that interaction
It's the second,
begins.
third.
And if you hand over your license in silence, you've just given the officer total control of that clock. He's holding your property. You can't leave. And while he's walking back to his cruiser,
Friendly
he's
questions
free to take his
officers
time.
are trained to
Run your
ask,
information
and the exact
Look for
words that
anything that
protect
might
you
give him
from
a
each
new
one.
reason to keep you there. But if
Here's
you
what
say
most
3
people
words
don't
first,
understand.
you shift the
A
entire
traffic
dynamic.
stop isn't a
Those 3
conversation.
words are: am I detained? Before your license leaves your hand, before you roll down the window all the way, before anything else, you ask that question: am I detained? Here's why it matters.
But here's the
Legally,
reality.
there are only
The
2
Fourth
types of
Amendment
encounters with
protects
police:
you from unreasonable
consensual
searches.
encounters and
If an
detention.
officer asks
In a
permission
consensual
to
encounter,
search,
you're free to
it
leave
means
at
they don't
any
have
time.
enough evidence
You don't
to
have to
search
answer
without
questions.
your permission.
You don't have to hand over ID
they had
in
probable
most states.
cause,
You
they
can
wouldn't
literally
be-
walk away. In a detention, they are holding you based on reasonable suspicion. You cannot leave. But they also have limits on how long they can hold you and what they can do. The problem is, most people have no idea which type of encounter
It
they're
puts you
in
an impossible
and police
position.
are under no obligation
If you
to
say
tell
no,
you. So when
the
you
officer
ask,
might
am I
take that as a
detained?
challenge.
You're
Let's
forcing
find
them
out.
to clarify.
If you
If
hesitate
they say
even
no,
slightly,
you're not
the
detained,
officer reads that
you've just
as
established
suspicious
that this is a
behavior.
consensual encounter.
If you
which means
over-explain,
technically,
now you seem
don't have to
nervous.
give them anything.
The
You can say, "Have a good night, officer," and drive away. Now, will that go smoothly? Probably not. But you've created a legal record that matters if anything goes wrong later.
You didn't
if they
even
say
realize
yes,
you were
you
admitting.
are detained. Now
A
you know the
surprising number
rules.
of drivers
They need
talk
reasonable
themselves into
suspicion.
handcuffs
The stop
right
has a
here.
time limit tied to
Not
its
because
original
they're
purpose.
guilty,
And
because they
anything
didn't
beyond that can be
recognize the
challenged in
trap.
court. Either way,
Today, I'm
you
revealing
win.
5
because you asked first. Now let me be clear about something. I'm not telling you to be confrontational. I'm not telling you to escalate. The goal here isn't to argue with police. The goal is to protect yourself
driving home
legally
after
while staying
dinner with
calm and
friends.
cooperative. So
Red
here's
and blue
exactly
lights
how this
flash
plays
behind
out in
you.
real life.
You pull over.
You get pulled over.
The officer
you slow
walks
down,
up, shines a
signal, and pull to
flashlight,
a safe
and
spot.
asks a simple
You turn
question.
off your engine.
Sounds
you put
friendly.
your hands on the steering
Maybe
wheel
even
where they
casual.
can see them.
But
You
that
wait.
one question
The
is
officer
designed to
walks
make
up.
you confess to
They'll
something.
usually say something like, "License and registration," or "Do you know why I pulled you over?" Before you hand them anything, you say calmly,
Years
"Good evening,
analyzing
officer.
traffic stop
Am I being
cases
detained
and
or am I
studying
free to
police
go?"
training materials.
That's it.
These
No
5
attitude,
questions appear
no
in
argument.
almost every encounter.
Just a question. If they say you're free to go, say "Thank you" and leave. If they say you're being detained, say "Understood."
Floyd's
I'm going
honesty.
to cooperate,
Most
but I do
people
not
think,
consent to any
well,
searches.
I only had
Then
one
hand
beer
over your
2 hours
license
ago,
and registration.
so I'll just tell the
You've
truth.
just done
But
2
the
critical
officer
things.
doesn't hear one beer.
You've established the nature of the encounter on the record. 2, you've asserted your rights without escalating. Now here's where most people
answer
mess
questions.
up. They
The
hand over
officer
the
may
license
continue
immediately.
pressing.
Then they start
You
talking.
keep repeating
They answer
the same
questions
phrase.
like, "Where are you headed
Polite.
tonight?" Or, "Have you had anything to drink?" They think they're being helpful. They think it'll get them out of there faster. It won't. Every word you say is potential evidence. Every answer is an opportunity for the officer to develop new
As,
suspicion.
You don't mind if
Where
I
are you
take a
headed?
quick look in your
Might
car,
seem
do you?
harmless. But if you say, I'm coming from a friend's house and they smell something, now they have a narrative.
Now anything
if you
found
say,
in that car,
I'm going to work at 11 at night, they might question that. Everything you say can be used.
The side of the road.
So here's the rule.
Because you admitted
After you've asked if you're detained and handed over your documents, you stop talking. If they ask questions, you say politely, I'm not answering questions tonight, officer.
I'm not going to answer.
Am I free to go? You sound like a broken record. That's fine. That's the point. Now let's talk about what happens while they have your license. This is the danger zone.
One trap,
They've walked
and
back
you've
to
just
the cruiser.
handed an officer
You're sitting
legal
there.
justification
They're running your
to
name,
search your vehicle.
plates, your history. They might be calling for backup. They might be waiting for a K-9 unit. Here's what the law says. Under Rodriguez, they cannot extend the stop beyond the time necessary
here's a trap
to complete
that
the traffic
sounds
mission.
like it's giving you a
that
choice.
Means writing a
Trap
ticket
number
or giving
4.
a warning for the original offense.
You don't mind if I search
your
car,
they have to let you go. But if a K-9 arrives before they finish, now they can walk the dog around your car without your consent. And if the dog alerts, that gives them probable cause to search. So what do you do? First, stay calm.
You have the Fifth
Don't get out of the
Amendment
car
right to
unless they
remain
ask
silent.
you to. Don't
Use
reach for
it.
anything. Keep your
Full
hands
dialogue.
visible. Second,
Officer
track the time.
says, have
Note
you
how
had
long
anything
they've
to
been
drink
gone.
tonight?
If it's been 5 minutes
you say,
and you were pulled over for
I
a
respectfully
taillight,
decline
that's getting
to answer
suspicious.
questions.
10 minutes?
Officer,
that's a problem. Third, when they come back, pay attention to what they say. If they try to ask new questions like, do you mind if I search your vehicle? You say, I do not consent to searches. If they say a K-9 is on the way, ask, am I free to go? The original reason for this stop has been addressed.
Behind you, you won't have time to Google what to say.
If you can safely record audio on your phone without escalating, do it. Many states allow you to record police encounters, but don't wave your phone in their face. Just have it recording
in your pocket.
in
If you have nothing
your
to
pocket
hide,
or on
you
the
should
seat.
let me look.
Now let me tell you the
say,
exact phrase to use
I
when
understand.
they return your license.
I still don't
This is
consent to
important.
searches.
When they hand back your
The
ID
officer
and say
might
you're
search
free to
anyway.
go, or
If they
drive
do,
safe.
stay
Do not
calm.
just drive off.
Don't
Say this
resist,
first.
but your
Just to
refusal
confirm,
is
officer,
now on record.
I'm free to leave now? Get them to say yes. Out loud, on record. Why? Because if anything happens after that, if they suddenly change their mind, if they claim
Even
you were
if the
still
stop
being
was
detained,
questionable,
you have a clear
even if the
moment where
reason
they
for
release
asking
you.
was flimsy,
That matters in court.
you consented.
That matters if they try to search your car
Here's the
after
counter.
fact. That matters
say,
if you get charged with
"Officer,
resisting or
I
obstructing.
don't consent
you get
to
them
searches."
to confirm. Then you leave.
That's the exact
calmly.
phrase.
No
Memorize
sudden
it.
moves. No speeding
Full dialogue.
off.
Officer
Just go.
says, what are you hiding?
Now let's
Why
talk
won't
about
you let
the
me
mistakes.
look?
The things
You
that
say,
turn a 5-minute
I'm not hiding
traffic stop
anything.
into an hour-long
I just don't
nightmare.
consent to searches.
Mistake number 1.
Officer says,
Answering. Do you know why I pulled you over? Never answer this. If you say, I was speeding, you just confessed. If you say, no,
Here's the full
they
dialogue.
might think you're lying.
Officer
The right
says,
answer is,
where are you
I
coming
prefer
from
not to
tonight?
guess, officer.
You say,
Mistake number 2.
I'd prefer not to discuss
consenting
my
to a
day,
search.
officer.
If they ask,
Officer
mind if I
says,
take a look in
why
your
not?
car?
What are you
Say,
hiding?
I do not consent to searches. Even if you have nothing to hide, consenting waives your Fourth Amendment rights. Make them get a warrant or probable cause. Mistake number 3. Getting out of the car without being asked. Stay in the vehicle.
Establish timeline
Getting out can
and
be seen as
opportunity.
aggressive. If they
If you
want
say
you out,
you're
they'll
coming
tell
from
you.
a bar,
Until
the
then,
officer
stay
now
put.
has reasonable suspicion to
Mistake
investigate
number
for
4.
DUI.
Arguing about the
If you
reason
say
for
you're
the
coming
stop.
from a friend's house
You think the
in a
stop was
neighborhood
bogus?
known for drug
Fine.
activity,
That's
the
what court
officer
is
now
for.
has a reason to
Arguing
look
on the side of the road accomplishes nothing except escalating the situation and giving them more reasons to hold you. Mistake number 5. Reaching for documents before they ask. This is how people get hurt. Never reach into your glove box, under your seat,
We
or
were
into
watching
your
the game,
pockets until they
had a few
specifically
beers.
ask you to.
You just
Then tell them
admitted to
what you're
drinking
doing
before
you do
driving.
it.
Here's
My
the counter.
registration is in the glove
When the
box.
officer
I'm going
asks
to reach
where you're
for it
coming
now.
from, you say,
Mistake number 6.
I prefer not to
Forgetting to assert your rights. If you don't say, I do not consent to searches, they can argue you gave implied consent. If you don't ask,
Sneakiest
am I
question
being
they'll
detained?
ask.
They can argue the
Trap
entire
number
encounter
2.
was consensual and you stayed
The officer
voluntarily.
asks,
Say
where are
the
you
words
coming from tonight?
out loud.
This sounds
every
like small
time.
talk.
Let
Just
me
a
tell you
friendly
about a
question
case
to
that
put
shows
you at
exactly
ease.
why this
But it's
matters.
actually an
In 2019,
evidence-gathering question
a driver
designed
in Ohio
to
was pulled over for a minor lane violation. He handed over his license immediately, said nothing about his rights. The officer took his time walking back to the cruiser. 8 minutes later, a K-9 unit arrived, the dog alerted. They searched the car and found nothing illegal, but the driver was detained for over 45 minutes total. He sued. The court ruled the stop was unlawfully extended under
Thrown out
Rodriguez.
in court.
The officer
That
had
protection
no new reasonable
only
suspicion.
exists because
The
you
K-9
clearly
was
said
called
no.
purely to fish for something.
This brings us
But
to
here's
the
the
last
thing.
trap,
That ruling
and it's the
came after
one that
months
makes
of legal
innocent
battles
people
and thousands
look
of dollars
guilty.
in attorney fees.
Trap number
If he had
5.
asked, am I detained?
You don't
at
have
the
anything
start,
illegal
If he
in
had
the
asked,
car,
am
do
I
you?
free to go? after
This
the original
question
issue
is
was
psychological
addressed,
war.
that entire situation might have played out differently. Not because cops always follow the rules, but because he would have created a clear record of asserting his rights. And that record is everything when you end up
illegal
in court.
in the car,
So
do
here's
you?
what you need to remember.
You say,
before you hand
"No,
over your
nothing,
license,
just my
ask,
gym bag and
am
some
I being
groceries."
detained or am I free
Officer
to go?
says,
While
"Mind
they
if I
have
take
your
a look at
license,
that gym bag?"
stay silent, hands visible.
Now you're in trap
no
number
sudden
4 again,
moves.
except
when they
you
return your
walked
license,
right into it.
confirm.
Here's the
I'm
counter.
free to leave now.
You say,
if they ask
"Officer,
to search,
I'm
say,
not going to answer
I do not
questions
consent
or
to
consent to-"
searches. If they keep asking questions, say, I'm not answering questions. Am I free to go? These aren't magic words. They won't get you out of a legitimate arrest. They won't protect you if an officer decides to violate your rights anyway. But they create
Here's
a
what
legal
most people
foundation.
do.
They
They
put you in
answer
the best
honestly
possible
and
position
completely.
if things go wrong.
"I'm coming from
3
Dave's
words,
house."
2 seconds. Am I detained? Say them first. Every time. If you want to know what to do when police show up at your door, that video is on screen now. Because the rules are completely different and most people get it wrong.